Oh, we can actually see the TV. Guys, all right. So I'm gonna have to go through and get this out there to everybody, but we got a lot of catching up to do, as always. Some of the videos I didn't even get to. I'm gonna try to go back and do another live and try to get caught up. Just got a lot on my mind, a lot to do, a lot I need to do. All right, so here we go, guys. I'm gonna get this on Facebook. My computer is being slow, which sucks, but yeah. Okay. I will share all that later. So here we go. The one that we've got right now, that I've got up right now, is obviously full spectrum, and looks like you can see the TV. It's alert, urgent, Russia given 90 days to prepare. This was from the 8th. This is 5 days ago. Again, I told you we have a lot to catch up on, and I have other ones before this that I didn't get to, which I don't even know if I'm going to do. I have a lot of chat video, like I have a chat videos I need to do, of a business video I need to do. I have a whole bunch of other videos to do. I was just telling Scott I could probably do videos all day long, every single day for the next month, and I wouldn't get caught. I wouldn't get all the videos in that I need to do. So yeah. All right. Given 90 days to prepare. NATO conflict explodes as nuclear powers prepare. So here we go.
Alliances are failing while others are hardening.
And I will
We
get
have
this out
missiles
there.
flying through the air right now, and the nuclear guardrails that kept the world from skin melting annihilation are disappearing. Nations are preparing for a war that they increasingly seem to believe can no longer be avoided. If this continues, 2026 isn't going to be the year of World War III. It's going to be the year that the world finally realized that it started. Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Turkey just signed a joint defense agreement in Mecca. They have now put together the Sunni Muslim U.S. allies alarmed at the region, and they're now saying that there's an Iranian missile convoy that is prepared to attack. Pakistan's foreign ministry said that an attack on any one of these three states will be regarded as an attack against all of them. And this pact was announced in a meeting between the Saudi crown prince, that's Mohammed bin Salman, the Turkish president, Tayyip Erdogan, and the Pakistani prime minister. They did this inside of the Mecca area of Saudi. Now, U.S. intelligence reports right now just raised a brand new alarm. They say that the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, will provoke a NATO nation with a limited attack as early as this fall. According to intelligence reports, officials delivered this information to the U.S. President Donald Trump, where they say that the increase in this timeline of a NATO draw-in is much closer than they believed it initially would occur. They now think that in the middle of a Russian military preoccupation with Ukraine, Russia will move. And there's evidence now, according to the reports, that aligns itself with European warnings that were made by allied nations. They sent out an alert that Russia was going to begin moving into a new fight against NATO countries now in as early as 3 months. In June, the head of Germany's army, Lieutenant General Christian Freuding, he warned that Russia was maneuvering themselves for the capability to strike NATO countries within a multi-year period. But officials believe that this will be a large-scale hybrid warfare.
I have to go make my swim class. I haven't had any breakfast.
As soon as just 90 days away from today. They say that it could be as long as the early parts of next year. There's information now that was leaked from the Russians that shows that Russia might use a false flag style attack with captured or with remade Ukrainian drones, and they'll use these to strike critical infrastructure in the Baltic region. The Lithuanian defense minister told outlets just 2 days ago that in the Kremlin, Putin needs a new escalation, a new victory. And in this case, they see the Baltic region and Poland as the closest targets that will be moved upon. Now, more than 80 years after the August 1945 atomic bombs dropped hell through Japanese areas of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, there was a group of pacts that was meant to make sure that this wouldn't happen again. It fell apart. What we're seeing right now, including the USA, is that there's a growing number of other countries that are planning right now to use nuclear weapons as a true guarantee of sovereignty. And this, according to the Speaker of Russia's Federal Council, or their Federation Council, is the new standard operating procedure. The New START, New Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, which was the last remaining agreement limiting the strategic nuclear arsenals of Russia and the United States, we reported on it expiring this year with no negotiations on a successor agreement that was made because China rejected a demand to include itself in a non-nuclear use pact. And now we're seeing countries modernizing their arsenals while they're pushing out information that a nuclear event, a limited event, won't really be so bad after all. The new technology, they say, could even help regenerate soil in certain conditions, and would allow affected countries or affecting countries to issue ultimate control through the battlefield use of tactical weaponry. Now, the United States of America right now is deploying a new generation of intercontinental ballistic missiles and, of course, our strategic bombers. Russia is deploying new intercontinental ballistic missiles on combat duty. And China is building brand new hidden missile silos and expanding their submarine fleet, including China's nuclear weapon system. The North Atlantic Alliance just stationed F-18M fighter jets and 8 NH-90 helicopters in Romania. They say it's to monitor the country's airspace, but we know that something bigger is at play. Military analysts say that the alliance seeks to use a drone incident to justify further expansions of military buildups and capabilities in their readiness to fight Russia. And NATO's air missions are gradually shifting away from just interception or just air support missions to providing drone protection, so they said. And we just saw a researcher at the Russian Academy of Sciences Institute of World Economy and International Relations say that this shift is directly connected to the implementation of a NATO-driven drone wall initiative. This is now expected to become part of NATO's air defense system. In the USA, we just saw the US Senate approve the sanctions bill that's targeting Russia originally. It was introduced by the late US Senator Lindsey Graham, and the pressure is aimed at cutting off the financial flow to the Russian war effort by America placing secondary economic pressures on non-involved countries that right now to this hour of this day operate by purchasing Russian energy products. Experts believe that through economic strangulation and the complete penalization of major foreign buyers of crude oil and things like natural gas, they're going to be able to force international markets to reduce their dependence on Russian exports, and they believe that they'll be able to diminish Moscow's primary source of revenue. But Moscow has enough bodies to hit the floor. Now, we just saw a confirmation that Russian forces were in fact able to hit an electric substation and a railway locomotive. They say that these systems were carrying cargo for the Ukrainian army, and they hit them using broad, long-range unmanned aerial vehicles. Russia's defense ministry both reported this, confirmed it, and they uploaded a video of the strike for you to go research and see. Video footage of the long-range UAVs hitting a 110 kV substation and a railway locomotive that was said to be carrying military cargo for the Ukrainian army, and this was near the settlement in the Kharkov region. The ministry says that Russia is now prepared to do whatever it takes to win this war. They have also confirmed the delivery of 2 massive and 12 combined strikes by precision-guided weapons and their unmanned drones on Ukrainian military sites. This is just over the last 5 to 7 days. A quote from the military says that on August 1st through August 7th, the Russian armed forces delivered these combined strike packages. They did so using the full force of the Russian military, and they were able to hit enterprises of the military-industrial complex, the military sector, logistics centers, and fuel and energy exports, part of the infrastructure used by the Ukrainian army. Anywhere that produces anything for the military capabilities. They also hit their vehicles and their components and temporary deployment areas of Ukrainian armed formations, and what they note to be American foreign mercenaries. Now, military experts say that this is a war for total infrastructural control. There's an admission that nearly 40 sea and river ports used to be operational before Vladimir Zelensky came into power as the Ukrainian president. However, right now there's no more than 6 ports that are functioning in the entire country. These remaining ports are used to deliver military cargo from NATO countries. Until 2014, Ukraine had 22 of these seaports and then 15 additional river ports used today, right now, by Ukrainian armed forces for logistics. But Russia notes that since the start of the special military operation, which we know as the Word War, Ukraine abandoned most of these ports under military duress, and as of today, there stands a remaining 5 to 6 at the disposal for the use of logistics and the delivery of Western weapons. For the most part, Russia says ammunition, shells, and military equipment are being brought into these ports under the pretext that they are hidden inside of grain ships. Moreover, the military equipment is brought into the Romanian ports, specifically what Russia notes to be the port of Volga.
Sorry, guys, I needed something.
More information from every direction.
And I'm being good. I got me a peach and a
If you're only watching one country,
Michelin vest.
or missing this,
I'm gonna use it for snacks. A little dusty. A little dust everywhere.
The only question left
I'm just being weird.
is just how far does this thing go?
For far too long period of time, America's recommended more
All
childhood
right,
vaccines.
sorry guys. So the next one is
What happens?
breaking 2027. Come on. Warning, you have 4.5 months left.
Is carted off or taken away before enough people can speak. You have exactly
4.5 months left to prepare. AI collapse and world war have started.
4.5 months left to get ready. I just got word that
4.5
2027
months
is going to be full of hell on the earth. And that makes sense to me now because they are moving the pieces of control so fast that no one even has time to push back against them. And anyone who
Get your water.
is carted off or taken away before enough people can see the commotion. Truth is, they really do want to enslave your wife, your father, your mother, and your children. They just found a better way to do it than using chains and weights. Now they have turned the chains into commitments and the weights basically into you losing everything that you have ever had or known. From birth to death, you are not a part of you are a part of theirs. Their lights, their cameras, and their
I
actions.
thought you already had some.
I had one more control. On your day 0, you get a number. On your last day on Earth, you get a certification. The state comes in to fight with whoever is left remaining of your family.
Okay, here's the deal, guys. And I know that no one's on right now because Mandy and Shay might not even be up. We have some of the same problems that you guys do. Okay. Still have to fix our water issue. Been a huge money problem, right? But I feel like advice for you guys. Get a fall garden. Get a fall garden started, okay? Even if it's just a couple of 8 by 4, 8 foot by 4 foot raised beds, right? They're pretty cheap. You can buy fabric raised beds on Amazon. They're pretty cheap. If you get the 100-gallon round ones, I would get like 3 or 4 of them. And I mean, I know it's a little bit of money, but look at what you're going to get back out of it. Get a fall garden planted, you guys. I have my cucumbers growing in one of them. They're doing okay. I do need to get some fish emulsion and try to, make sure we're getting enough nutrients. Same with my watermelon plant. Find a local orchard. Get some fruit. Fall apples, pears, peaches, plums. Cherries are done, unfortunately. I've missed those at Meyer. I don't know if I can still pick blueberries or not. Get fruit, get it put up, get it preserved. Me, I'll can applesauce. I'll can the peaches, I'll can the pears. The blueberries, I mean, you can even can plums. It's not the greatest way to put stuff up, but your family won't starve, okay? Find somebody you can get raw milk from. We're still working on a money situation. I'm going to have to try to get a job in the morning. Unfortunately, early morning, which is going to suck because I'm not going to get enough sleep. It's 6 to 1 and half a dozen of the other for me right now. I don't know. Get gardens started. Find a local orchard to get fruit from. Check out farm stands. Get fresh produce if you don't have a garden. Go to the farmers markets. Do not get it from the grocery store. You're going to spend a little bit more, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. You're actually going to get nutrients out of it, which is what you need. Get away from produce from the grocery stores. Period. Get away from it. I'm getting to where I don't buy produce from the grocery store. Yes, I bought these peaches. We're not even going to get any this year. All I have left of our peaches from last year is 2 or 3 quarts of what I can. That's it. And whatever's left of our jam. That's all I got. But go to farmers markets, farm stands. There's a ton of them around right now. Start buying stuff, putting up produce that way. Get your water figured out. And get your seeds. There's So Right Seeds. Go to Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. Go to the shop tab. Go to the near the bottom. Click on So Right Seeds. You'll get 15% off your order. Okay. They don't promote Baker's Creek. I still like their seeds because their seeds are still really good. They're heirloom seeds, and I've never had a problem with their seeds growing, ever. So, Baker's Creek, So-Right Seeds, Baker's Creek, Berlin Seeds. Those are the three main ones. And none of the, if you can find any seeds at Dollar Generals anywhere, I don't think Dollar Trees have anymore. I think they're gone. But those seeds are heirloom and they do grow. You're not going to get a whole lot of variety of, different types of each veggie, but you can stock up on the main veggies that you want pretty easily. But get your seeds, get them now, because once they put a lockdown on this, you ain't going to be able to get them. Get an 18-gallon tote and fill it with seeds. Fill it. I'm dead serious. Fill it. My tote's full, but not of seeds. I have a container with the main seeds in it. I have a container with beans and a bag with peas. I have some Baker's Creek seeds. I have, my main seeds, all my main vegetables are in like one little container, one little Rubbermaid tote inside my bigger tote. Then I have another one of those little totes that's full of bean seeds. And then you go see what they're doing in the bathroom. I heard something. And then I have a gallon Ziploc bag of pea seeds. And then I have a little tote of, herb seeds. I have a few So-Right seeds. I have a few that I got from Amazon. Just get your seeds. Get them. I cannot stress it enough. When you want to go on Amazon and get the survival seed packages, do it. Get them and get them now. Scott, just... What was going on?
Nothing's in the bathroom.
I heard something.
No, it wasn't in the bathroom.
What was it?
Probably on the porch. They were just going around on the porch.
It sounded like the toilet seat.
The only one in the bathroom is Cupcake, and she's in the toilet. There's nothing wrong with the toilet seat.
I know what I heard. Anyway, get your seeds. Get them. Herbs, go to Amazon. You can even get this from Berlin and So-Right Seeds and Baker's Creek, which you'll pay more. On Amazon, you can get the medicinal seed garden. Get the one that's got the most in it. Yes, you're going to pay a little bit more, but it gives you a whole bunch of them. Okay? And anytime you can afford to buy a packet like that out of a paycheck, do it. Get your seeds. I cannot stress it enough. Get them. Period. And get tools you don't need electricity for. All right. Sorry, you guys. What the frick, dude? Why? Shit pisses me off. I hate it when it happens. Sorry, you guys. I'm just really irritated today. And I'm not in the mood to put up with stupid shit.
Cleaning of your family to clean up whatever scraps you have left.
All right. I'm not
You
going
have
to
exactly 4.5 months left
Sorry.
to get ready. I just got word that 2027 is going to be full of hell on earth. And that makes sense to me now because they are moving the pieces of control so fast that no one even has time to push back against them. And anyone who tries is carted off or taken away before enough people can see the commotion. The truth is, they really do want to enslave your wife, your father, your mother, and your
I'll
children.
try to stay out of the way.
They just found a better way to do it than using chains and weights. Now they have turned the chains into commitments and the weights basically into you losing everything that you have ever had or known. From birth to death, you are not a part of your own system. You are a part of theirs. Their lights, their cameras, and their action. And it's all a show for them to pursue more control. On your day zero, you get a number. And on your last day on Earth, you get a certification. The state comes in to fight with whoever is left remaining of your family to clean up whatever scraps you have left. There is nothing that you have ever had or wanted to have or that you own that isn't given to you by the grace of the masters of slaves. Our rights are governed, and even the term of rights being granted to you gives an insinuation that they are letting us have these rights, even when the representations are supposedly given to us by creation itself. There is literally nothing that they are not willing to take away from you.
Yep.
And that's where we're going. Through our servitude and sheepled subservience, we're building it for them. The best prison that the world has ever seen. And it's going to be used on us. Do you think that it's an accident that camera systems are being set up on every street? Or maybe it's
Not
just a
a chance.
coincidence that these cameras are outside of force multiplier stores and shooting ranges. So either the people in control are telling artificial intelligence that the machine has to figure out how to better control you, and if they are, it's working really well. Or AI is telling the people in control that this is the only way the world's going to exist in the next 12 months. And if they don't burn down every structure that you know or have ever known or loved, then they're going to have nothing left to govern over. Either way, it's a suck sandwich for you and me. And the world that we knew is going to be removed from existence to be better created in their image, the one they want. They'll have better control structures erected than any time in history, never in the middle part of another one. In order of a new world. The United States of America is controlled by this system.
The business video is
And the
going to look
one
a little
thing
bit
that they're
different, you
building.
guys.
They control the money.
We have to get
And by
serious about
proxy,
this.
they can
Like, we have to
control
get
who
serious
can or
about
can't have
business.
access to it. And if you think I'm wrong, and if you have a fair share of money in the bank, go try to take it out without asking for permission. Just walk in and say, give me all my money. They control the intelligence agencies in the State Department. Out there even controls the presidency to varying degrees. And I think that as soon as we learned that there are groups of people who are doing terrible things to innocent lives, and not one GD thing was going to be done about it, I think then they knew the old gig was up, and that rushed their plan a little bit. In one of those coincidental events, they immediately pivoted to non-Earth beings, unidentified encounters, in a machine that was built by man or creature that was smarter than every human being walking this earth today combined. Within the past 2 weeks, we have seen war and debt and death and destruction. Weather events so far beyond imagination that they seem to have been orchestrated. And now we're seeing machines create viruses without any human oversight. And scientists are either going missing or they're winding up being Russianized out of a tall building. And for what? Is this to better your life? The same frontmen that are standing in the door to the world's newest order are simultaneously telling you and me that this is the end of mankind as we know it. And then they turn to another camera and say it's going to be a better future than we could have ever dreamed of. This is a special edition episode of our news coverage. It's sponsored by Augusta Precious Metals. Now, I look at these events every single day, and I don't know how far they're going to go. The only thing I do know is that they're going to be really bad. And protecting what we have right now is the first line in my preparedness, at least. So let's take a quick moment to hear from today's sponsor, and then we're going to get right back into it. This year, we saw total federal debt reach $39 trillion, leading us right into the next financial crisis. With this in mind, gold and silver remain an absolute wealth preservation tool because it has over 3,000 years of maintained purchasing power. Holding on to these precious metals will protect your wealth, unlike paper dollars, because they lose their purchasing power as inflation rises. Remember, people buy gold when banks and governments face trouble. And the team at Augusta Precious Metals has helped thousands of Americans, and they've helped them understand what gold and silver can do for them. If you have questions about purchasing gold and silver directly, or if you're just wondering about how a gold IRA works, they will answer all of your questions in a one-on-one conference and help you understand what's best for you. To talk with a team member or to get your free gold IRA guide, go to the site that they set up specifically for our community by visiting www.spectrumgold.com or text FSS to 35052. They're telling you that this is the end of mankind as we know it. They're saying that the next part of the world is going to end because of life. And then they put to another the best future you can grow. Maybe instead of paying people households and wiping off loose ends better than Soviets. Maybe they should have given $3 million citizens money to grow nutritious organic food inside their own daughter. We teach our children how to live. Why are we allowing them to do we have to make the It's a very hard reality to accept that you're a number given to them by the government, and you're only an asset to them until you're not. Do you remember all of your friends that you have come into and gone out of contact with? Maybe they were your ride or dies until they stopped calling you or you stopped calling them. Your employer wants you to believe that you're just a part of a big, lovely financial family. And it's definitely worth giving your life away to them because, let's face it, that's the only thing that you can partner with in 2026, New World America, your time, until you get sick. Or someone else stands next to you willing to do your job, maybe almost as efficiently, but for less money. You see, the words that they use are very important to people in power. And for one reason or another, they have shown their hand. We're not in their class. In fact, we used to be a little bit useful to them. They knew that if you and I weren't here to clean their toilets and clean up their messes, they'd have to do it themselves. And so they let us keep pretending until 2026. And then people with power, money, and control and a plan built your replacements. And now for less money than a new Ford truck, they can replace you by building a robotic system. They can do this at your work, truck drivers, hospitals. They've already done it in the stores. And we see that we are now truly what they wanted us to be all along. Used and without use, beaters on their teeth. Now, you might have 9 months, and I believe 2026 is probably the last year of anything resembling normal for a very long time, because once 2027 hits the clock at midnight, everything is going to change. 27 is going to wreck a lot of people's lives who are not prepared. Just look at the patterns.
So we have basically the rest of this year to get prepared. That's probably about it.
And AI is going to put your job back to realize. You have it under pressure. And it's time you get your life and your skills together.
Yep.
You have to do it right now. If you want someone to tell you that everything is going to be fine, you have other freaks people. You should probably go look at that. But I'm telling you what's coming.
Yep. Thanks for this channel.
While you have time. Because if you're unprepared when things turn, the consequences are literally going to be life. Right now, you have a choice. You can either join in this fight, or you can pass this life.
Yep.
I have got some seemingly good news. Over the past few months, the Trump administration has paid out over $100 billion in tariff refunds.
Oh,
Yay!
shut up. All right. So the next one is alert. They know what's coming. Food shortages, bank panic, and global instability. And shut the doors.
We're fine.
Down.
States dollar. And then, of course, we're going. What you probably think is coming is going to be bad. Maybe it feels like things are getting a little bit worse out there, and everywhere you look,
Get
the
out!
potential to be even worse. You have friends like me who tell you that we're worse off right now than even during the Great Depression. But both of these things are a mess. What we are actually headed toward right now is much worse. I think that we are actually looking at an event in the near future that is a complete collapse of the structure of United States governance, martial order through economic control, and a collapse of the United States dollar. And of course, we're going to mix in a little bit of flag and some. Nobody alive today has ever lived in American currency. And no one can understand how to get the world only currency is wiped out. We've of course survived the recession and some. We survived national bank failure. Right now, and we have had some really disgusting American failure. It's the same reason that China and even American allies are starting to put in the calls to bring home their physical gold and their possessions. They know what's coming. And if you knew something was bad was about to happen, maybe at your house, what would you do? Just look at the people on the coast of the USA before a hurricane. They board up their windows and batten down their hatches. They buy food. Tornado country is the same thing. They get ready. So if you're the US government, and you know it's coming, and that people, when they're used to having everything around them, are now forced to live without, you know that they're going to burn this mother down. So what do? You create National Guard quick reaction force. Done. You put cameras on every street, and you make taking them down felonies against the federal government. Done. You create a data processing capacity to see every citizen from the point that they wake up to their moment of slumber. And now that's done. What we're looking at right now is something much closer to what actually happened during the fall of the Soviet Union, sprinkled in with a little pepper of Venezuela and Brazil. This is something that no other American has ever experienced. So if you're trying to figure out how the hell you're supposed to prepare for something like that, I'm looking at what these other countries did, what the people there did, or what they wish they had done before their country fell apart. What were the items that they needed? Was it medicine that was harder to get? And what things were harder to go without? What happened to their banks and their food, their supply chain, and their ability to buy or barter basic items? Now, you can go to bed thinking that everything is basically functioning, and you can wake up tomorrow to the banks restricting your ability to take out money, the market's falling apart, businesses refusing forms of payment, People are going to panic buy whatever they can get their hands on, whether they need it or not, and everybody will suddenly try to protect whatever money they have left. The part that people are completely unprepared for. Experts are warning that we're facing a historic global food crisis that already started. Prices have been rising for years, which obviously isn't news to you or anybody who walked down the aisle of a grocery store. But that's not the bad part. Not only did they say that we can expect food prices to get significantly higher this year, we should begin preparing for shortages. And at the exact same moments, we're dealing with a global weather catastrophe, the El Nino event they keep telling us about, a fertilizer shortage, drought, heat damaging the crops, and more.
Hey, Panda!
Any one of these things on their own is able to cause a food problem in our production supply chain. But when you have all of them put together, you're starting to now look at the pain and attention of every country over what's going to happen over the next couple of months. Look at what just happened in the Spanish region. 90,000 migrants from Morocco suddenly storming the countryside overseas. A lot of people were so shocked by the sheer volume of able bodies that were hitting their shore, hitting the locals with stones and rocks, that they never asked why so many people were desperate enough to leave in the first place. A big part of the why is their collapse. Morocco has been dealing with a nightmare drought that just doesn't seem to end. It nearly cut their cereal harvest in half while wiping out 720,000 different jobs. It's a horrible combination of tragic events. You lose food production and lose hundreds of thousands of jobs. People who depended on that supply chain and the money are now losing their ability to live. And I've been worrying about a global food issue for a decent amount of time. Because besides water, but you need to stay alive, eat consumables. And it looks like we're not waiting anymore. You start to see it happening in different parts of our world today. Europe is just the most recent example of it. We're
Bet
seeing
you
how
haven't gone through the
damage
bed, have you?
I did go through the bed last
Weather
night.
being bad enough this quarter
Well, I
that
went
the
to that.
Should be done in the
association that
morning
represents
as
Europe's
well.
cereal traders, they just published a pretty unheard of, alarming out-of-cycle forecast. In their forecast, they cut the expected EU and UK grain production to less than 300 million tons, and that's roughly 5% below what they estimated in June, which was 15% below last year's coverage. Now, I'm ever the pessimist because my wife is the optimist. And I think this helps us reach a balance in each other because she gives me plenty of hope to smoke. And I make sure that we stay grounded in the reality of what is happening around our world. And I think that these estimates they're putting out are too optimistic, especially when I start looking at what's happening over in the United Kingdom. Do you think it's an accident that America wanted to ship and truckload in all of these agricultural workers who were already used to living in bad conditions, who would kill themselves for less, didn't mind getting eaten to death by mosquitoes to get a tomato to market? What about Europe doing basically the same thing? Their barley and oats cereal production, it just fell or is projected to fall by 19 million tons. If they're going to run out of food just to feed the people of Europe. And this is what is coming when the dollar breaks. Food's hard to come by. Moms are going to do anything they can to put formula into their kids' bottles. And if you're about to see millions of peed off, desperate people suddenly realizing that the system they depended on isn't even working anymore, and you have to understand that things are going to get violent really far and fast. Get your food, medicine, water, and everything that your family needs and get it right now. I'd like to be wrong because I'm preparing like I'm not. Because people are going to get hungry and scared. And your time to get ready is dead if you're not making sure that your family is better prepared.
Yeah, the one that's going to be Lala, I think it's going to be this morning. As a matter of fact, it's next advisory because we
Well-
can see the storm is beginning to.
Once we
ramp
get
up.
some gas, I can go out there and start cleaning it.
This oddly named potential tropical cyclone 1C. It just means it has the potential to turn into a tropical hurricane and it has 40-mile-an-hour winds now. So if they determine that it has enough circulation.
Gas can is in there. You've
meet
seen
the
it help me
definition,
remember.
Then it becomes immediately a tropical storm because it has.
Oh, shut up. Don't have time for you. All right, the next one is breaking. They just shut down the Black Sea. Russia warns Germany they're preparing for something. Right here.
I've got some breaking news here for you. Something is changing right now, and I don't like the direction that it's going. America is
Yeah,
burning
things are
through
not
our
going in a
weapons
good
systems
direction,
in Washington
guys.
State to protect our interests in Asia. Turkey, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia just signed a defense pact that sounds a whole hell of a lot like a version of NATO. Now we're starting ships being restricted in the Black Sea, and Europe keeps talking about preparing for an inevitable war with Russia. And we've still got the largest nuclear power plant in Europe sitting right in the middle of all of this mess. Every country seems to be preparing themselves for the possibility that this is going to get a lot worse, last longer, and start pulling other nations into it. Now, maybe the governments are just feeding their own bullshit about the stockpiles they have left, but you can't ignore the direction that this is moving. What we're watching is alliances break, military stockpiles getting chewed through, and countries who are now starting to figure out who they're going to stand with when things get worse. The battle lines are being drawn. And if even a couple of these issues don't break loose at the same exact time, what we're about to find out is what a world that is engulfed looks like. Right now, there's a massive amount of information that's coming out from both American and anti-American sources. This information suggests that the stockpile of U.S. weapons is unable to maintain a level of striking that is necessary to remove Iranian authorities from power. This potentially limits President Donald Trump's ability to issue further strikes. Now, these are sources inside of the U.S. military and officials working with the government. And we have to operate on the fact that this information could be representative of fact, but it could also be information that is used to make our allies or our enemies think that we can't do it. Officials say the largest area of concern is the drawing down of inventories of our long-range offensive missiles, including the ATACMS. This conflict has been fought largely from safe distances or through the airstrikes. Now, the Center for Strategic Studies, they just reported that U.S. Patriot interceptor stocks have fallen by 2/3, so roughly 60%. THAAD missile inventories have been reduced by 50%. And if we're going to operate on this information being true, there is historical backing here because we have given away all of our weapons to Ukraine when we were run by a president and an administration who sold us out for more than a couple of years. Now, other sources say that the U.S. military has used almost 80% of our missile inventory. That's compared with pre-conflict levels and about 50 to 65% of Patriots. Now, this info could be purposefully misdirected data that is leaked to the public in order to give the country of Iran, China, and Russia, America's enemies, a false sense of security in their own ability to wage war against us. It's really yet to be seen. In related news, Turkey's foreign minister, they just claimed that the defense agreement that they just signed, this is between Turkey and Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, is not a specific target against Iran. It's a coalition of countries that will defend themselves against any and all attacks, foreign and domestic. Although they did say that the contractual obligations are technically the same as NATO's Article 5 Mutual Defense Pact. Now, that acknowledges that any attack on one country is seen by the militaries of each country as an obligation to attack back. The foreign minister, that's Hakan Fidan, he added that this pact that was each one of these countries is about to be joined by Egypt, going to be joined by other nations once a few of their known loose ends begin tying up. When given feedback, NATO sees this as a move to contradict the current national obligation, and Turkey's response was that NATO is a giant military alliance where there are 32 different countries. And what they've started here is 3 countries taking a very humble but concrete step. Now, in the initial announcement, the Turkish government said that the agreement is not in contradiction with their commitments of Turkey's existing international alliance, including those that are at the heart of the NATO Article 5 movement. But the ministry added that this agreement is of particular importance in light of what they see as an escalating challenge and a worldwide threat that begins to face the region. Foremost, they say, from terror attacks, arms smuggling, and threats that target neighbor countries and international maritime routes. You can start to see all of these routes being pulled together now. And reports that we're seeing show that Turkey just took the first step in this initiative, the very first allied group to restrict commercial shipping vessels from moving through the Black Sea, and what they say is increase the tax on maritime vessels. It was just noted that the Coast Guard has denied passage through the straits for vessels which are interestingly bound for Russia. Now, according to intelligence sources we just circulate, now these reports show that Morocco's defense forces and their state police have been deployed. Other anti-terror groups have been put on high alert. This was after social media started witnessing what could be intelligence agencies or operators calling for another massive attempt to move or cross migrants into Spanish-controlled territory. Now, according to this information, law enforcement, with various structures of domestic and terror watch groups, they were just put on high alert in the city of Findak, located about 5 kilometers away from the contested area and, of course, its surrounding environment. Now, the sources there say that measures are being taken right now after they started seeing posts circulating on social media about a preparation for an international obligation to push mass migrants into the border illegally. This is set to take place August 15th, so keep it on your calendar. Police are instructed to crack down harshly on anyone who is inciting or caught illegally migrating or linked to criminal human trafficking. Now, in addition, as confirmed by these same sources, they say that surveillance has been stepped up along the coastline, any sort of railway or roadways, and the Moroccan authorities stress that these measures are aimed at protecting human life. And of course, they throw in the "we're just here to maintain public order." Experts across the world are warning that we're just one sneeze in the hay barn away from a nuclear meltdown. They say that the situation at the nuclear power station that exists inside of southeastern Ukraine, which is the largest nuclear site in Europe and among the 10th largest in the world, is under control, but it's under a condition of caution at this time. Security systems, they say, continue to operate normally. Safe operating limits and conditions have not been violated. And the radiation situation at this nuclear power plant and in the surrounding areas is stable. It's consistent right now with natural background levels, but they don't expect that to continue. Over in Russia, the anti-American BRICS member states to join a coalition of their own. Begin building is the development of the Northern Sea Route, or the The ministry acknowledged that it is Russia's official position to support the discussion on logistics. The promotion of industrial products is impossible, they say, without an efficient way to transport infrastructure. And therefore, according to the ministry, they propose considering the establishment of a transport and logistics hub within the member state areas to ensure the seamless movement, as they say it, of manufactured goods both over sea and by land. Now, the deputy minister says that the nation has highlighted this NSR route because it is a viable and completely safe alternative to American control. They say this is a project that they're interested in scaling up and to put the cargo traffic along with it. Now, we did just see After Germany warned that a hybrid war was coming with Russia, the Russian embassy in Berlin described the incident involving a drone that was discovered with explosives. This was at its airport as a hastily concocted provocation of conflict. The embassy released a report saying that it is obvious now concocted provocation serves only the goals of Ukraine and the militaristic wings of the European political class. Now, Ukraine, they say, desperately short of weapons. The governments of unfriendly European states lack the arguments as to why, in the face of acute socioeconomic problems, unlimited financial resources should be transferred to a so-called corrupt regime that does not shy away from using terroristic methods and publicly promotes their agenda, including what they say is the glorification of the execution of Russian citizens. They say that we are now entering a time of worldwide conflict. The main threat, according to Russia, is not to Germany in their notorious hybrid attack alert. Russia says this doesn't exist. The threat is to the politicians who enthusiastically develop scenarios for an imminent war to take place with Russia and invite the citizens of Germany to take part inside of it. And so we keep gathering information. Right now, that's one of the most important things that you can do. Don't just listen to Russia or the USA or Iran or NATO or anybody else telling you what is their version of what is happening. Watch what the countries are actually doing. Where are they using their weapons? Who are they signing agreements with?
Hold on.
And what are they preparing their own people for? The government can bullshit you all day long. How they do, because that's a lot harder to hide. And right now we see whole groups of governments that are preparing for something much larger than what they're publicly admitting to. So get your house in order. Keep your supplies where they need to be. And stay close to the people that you give a dang about. Pay attention, because if this thing really does break wide open, we're probably not going to get very much of a warning.
Welcome back. Parts of Indiana saw a 1 in 1,000-year flood Wednesday. Water rushed into homes, roads became impassable, and there were evacuations. Read the news reports.
All right, guys. Sorry about that. I was trying to feed the. He wanted some kitty milk. That one. And that one. Got one more on this one. This is from 3 days ago. Alert, don't wait any longer.
I want you to
Political
think about what
violence,
happens
anger is
when
just
they-
the start.
The next 24
This is
months
how
are
it all
going to get pretty dark.
begins.
I don't mean in the usual end of the world sense where there's crisis.
I apologize for
Stop.
being here, there,
Everybody
and
needs to
everywhere,
start
but
digging at their bunker.
trying to do several things at once. I got my eggshells crushed. Okay, guys.
Beginning to realize that instability is what is becoming normal. Countries are killing each other economically over trade agreements. We have sanctions and tariffs that are flying like panties at a concert. We definitely are not stopping the wars that were never meant to end. And the government is in debt. The citizens can't afford to live. And we should take note of the tone shift that just took place in politics. Democrats and Republicans.
Nebula, shut up.
Your options. Now they're telling you that whatever you do politically is absolutely, it's no longer an option of the American people's vote.
Get out here!
Deliberately moving into a dangerous
Nebula!
which disruption and crisis is being
Get in here!
the ends that they're willing to push us
There
to
was nothing there.
are going to
I think they
have
went to the
very
wrong
severe
house.
consequences.
They pulled, they
There's a
put it in
shift
our driveway,
in
but they,
value that's
never
taking
Ooh.
place inside of the American populace.
mind.
Some of you are going to
The
lose your
Penske, Amazon
We all will.
truck
But
that was,
behind that, there's
Scott,
going to be
that's not an
more
Amazon vehicle.
positions waiting like cats.
PNSKE, that is a totally different company.
Well, it said, Amazon, I had a sign that said Amazon on it.
During the financial
Whatever.
crisis, the average American house price fell eventually around 20% nationally. Unemployment hit 10%. People got wiped out. Their retirement accounts got completely demolished. We saw foreclosures everywhere. Almost everybody knows someone who was affected. But the people who had liquidity and who weren't buried in debt, suddenly they had an opportunity that was so far unavailable to them just a few years earlier. But then we watched a faster version of the same thing during COVID. In just over a month, the S&P 500 dropped around 30%. Fear took over and everybody wanted their own liquidity. The markets, they started seizing up. The governments and the central banks came charging in with brand new measures of intervention. Then assets screamed back upward. And a whole new group of winners and losers was created. And that's why I keep telling my friends and family to just be ready, because being prepared isn't only 50 cans of beans that are underneath our bed. It means that we're harder to corner. You have less debt, better cash reserves, food and fuel, force multipliers, let's face it, ability to fix your own chart, and then having land if you can afford to, and maybe co-opting some if you can. But probably the most important thing in all these is keeping your powder dry and available to you when everyone else around you decides that the world has ended. The 1970s, we saw another version of this happen. Energy shocks collided with inflation. And during the 73 oil embargo, the CPI energy index registered a year-over-year increase of around 38%. Our households, at least mine, growing up, we got hit with inflation. My parents were hit with economic weakness and energy problems. They all kind of mixed in at the same time. And then 50 years later, people have been so conditioned that they believe that Washington can just make these problems disappear. But history says they can't.
I will be doing more videos, and yes, to work. I do have stuff I have to do, but
They can't even continue.
I will be doing more videos.
You're going to see a lot of people
This is a very important one.
vacation, become a movie, maybe being able to afford meat that week. They're already trying
How to make
keep
a
the
hand
cars
pump.
running longer and
How to make drinkable water out of
these
air.
subscriptions in.
And it says the material cost is about $129.27.
Cutting their hours. People
Takes about
selling their
50 minutes
makes their
to put
boats.
together. So
Eventually, they're going to sell their property because the monthly payments are already becoming unbearable. Now, concerningly, you're probably right about to the point where we start to see politically motivated anger. So that's going to happen because everybody is starting to look. Now, what I need to do is sit somewhere of what is coming through my own head, because if things get substantially worse, what's going to have a negative effect on my life first? Is there going to be a payment problem that I have? How can I remember that opportunity continues to exist even during the Great Depressions, and that coming out of that is not exclusive to just being a smart person or the smartest in the room. A lot of times that opportunity is going to belong to who wasn't desperate when everybody else around you was. Let's look at the last 4 days just to see how things are going. Around 150 workers have now joined industrial action at BHP's Port Hedland.
I'm going to try to get as many of these videos out there every day as I can,
Stop it.
because these are
Basically a
important.
strike. They
Really,
move
really
$80 million
important.
worth of iron ore through that port every day.
These are
That facility handles an enormous amount of the entire world's iron exports. Household stress, notable labor economic problems, disruptions that are involving wages, working conditions. We're seeing globally commodities all across our country and around our world. The New York Fed, the latest household survey just found that Americans are still expecting new inflation to come this year. Higher gas prices, cost of living is expected to get worse. But more importantly, for your angle, people say that they expect unemployment to continue to increase. And they believe their own probability of losing a job is heavily rising. They're also seeing credit become harder to obtain, and I know that I've seen that in local banking. And this combination with persistent inflation, tougher credit, and an increasing fear of job, particularly useful household sentiment indicators that this overall assess their own financial situation, and they're saying, we understand things are getting worse. We better get ready. And then instead of the expected 80,000 job gain, the economy just lost 25,000, revised downward by another 103,000, and 264,000 people just left the labor force. Participation rate is now at a 5-year low, and household unemployment, another one that got hit, shows that people are moving into part-time work for economic reasons. When you look at the service sector, they lost more than 30,000 positions. Retail lost around 20,000.
Unfortunately.
Hospitality lost 40,000. And financial activities lost about another 15. But after the financial or employment contraction, the markets cut the probability of a September Fed increase to below 50%, even though
I'm actually gonna see about doing, see if I can do another live later. This is so important that I get this stuff out there to you guys.
reality that things begin to get better for the people when they have money, when they have power, when things start to get worse for everybody else. Because how can you lose your job? How can your inflation be worse than ever? How can your everything be cut?
Mhm.
And they say, this is go time. Let's make more money, pour more money into this machine because we want everyone to suffer. Now, stocks and bonds rally following the ugly payroll numbers, and that's because the investors immediately reduced their expectations that the Fed was going to tighten. This as an implication of the financial markets, where we see the people with money benefiting from reports that American people are losing their jobs. And then we just saw second quarter corporate profits reaching record highs, while workers' share of the economic output fell to a record low. This also points out the slow hiring. There's a growing concern about AI-related labor displacement. City
This-
economists
so,
reporting reports
this
that
needs to be
labor
washed.
market
That comes
is about to deteriorate. It's going to have
laid on by the cats.
record number of young Americans inside of our country have already moved back in with their parents.
Yeah,
Soaring housing costs, stubborn inflation. We
I mean,
continue to put
this is my parents' house.
Renting out of the.
it's not in the greatest
region.
condition, believe me.
That's according to Realtor.com and a survey all across our country.
I am actually gonna work on getting the Amish cabin to make it to where we have somewhere to go. Wow,
This is
for
the highest amount
completely
of-
renovating and
It's
fixing
above
this
the
house.
numbers seen during COVID. It's worse than what was seen during the 2007 financial crisis. It's worse than the 1970s, and it's as bad as the Great Depression.
Yep.
So you have 30,000 jobs gone, another 100,000 erased, 250,000 people left the labor force. Household unemployment reaching new records. Economically, we see forced
I'm not gonna
part-time
get it.
participation. Now we're starting to see the next part. Our country has fallen.
One of my favorite things about the growing season is having fresh
Okay.
lettuce.
So.
All right, guys, I'm done.
I'm gonna try to do another live dealing with just Riverside videos because he brings up a lot of different things. It's already over an hour, and I don't like making them too much longer than that. I can't stress how important it is, you guys. I'm gonna like show you guys what I mean. Okay, this is an old one. Do me a favor. Upstairs in Chloe's old bedroom, there is a brown cardboard one of these. Grab it. This is one that when I was planning on us being on a different property, because this was going to be huge. Huge thing. I think this is the down south one. But this gives you a little bit of an idea, okay? This was going to be the house, the woodshed workshop, outdoor kitchen, pool, root cellar, smokehouse, ice house, the grape arbor, strawberry beds, the greenhouse, which we're gonna have a huge greenhouse out here. This was gonna be. Can't read, but I can't read upside down. Oh, that's what I thought it was. The chicken coop, the turkey coop, the quail, the rabbit hutch, the guineas, the meat chickens, which I still want to get, but I'm gonna go through Meyer Hatchery and get the Red Rangers or whatever they are. The ducks, geese, the pond for them. And then we were gonna do a big barn and do pigs and dairy cows and some beef cows. We were gonna have a couple of bulls, which I'm glad I didn't do because I don't think I could handle them. And then horses. And this is when we were planning on having like more than just us. And then feed storage and sheep over here and goats. We were gonna do the whole 9 yards, but I'm pretty sure I couldn't handle that now. And this is going to be all our garden, and this is fun. And I'm actually in the process of gridding this out. But here's a little more doable. The first things I drew up. This is going to be the pallet house. Okay. With our side here, and this is going to be Chloe's, but obviously that's not going to be a thing. I'm going to go with Amish cabin, okay? The greenhouse is not going to be out there. Outdoor kitchen, we are going to do the outdoor kitchen. All of the rest of the stuff I am going to do. The woodshed workshop. Only this right here, you think it would be easier to clean up the granary? I mean, probably, because it's already built. The only thing is we'll have to fix the back of it
That shouldn't be.
to make it into the woodshed workshop.
That shouldn't be. It's gonna be major apologies getting all the crap out of us.
Not really.
I can't do.
Really? I know that, Scott. All right, and then this is the
Hi, Earth.
full medicinal garden, which is going to be like on this side instead. Rhubarb, green, white, and purple asparagus, which I do have to get the rest of that. I don't know if we're going to do an ice house. I might, I don't know. It just depends. It's something would have to be dug, so I don't know. Definitely fire pit. That's not going to be difficult. Face first raised garden bed, which right there. I am going to put an off-grid stove out there, little wood shack, smokehouse, clotheslines. I might still try to do the feeder pigs, and the dairy goats have their spot. I do still want ducks. I don't know about geese. I need to make sure they have a pond. We're going to do... I've also decided to do something else. I have decided that I'm going to this fall, I'm going to put in a living fence out here. That's where it's going to start. With elderberry bushes. Living privacy fence. I'm tired of people slowing down and gawking. Okay? I don't know. With what we're living with nowadays, you don't want people doing that. No. I have little stick tights on my shirt. All right, the other thing Yeah, see, I started gridding that stuff out. Can you give me another one of these? Yeah, see, this right here shows the Amish cabin, but it has the greenhouse next to it. I might go with 2 greenhouses, just have a lot written out here. But you know, the point in me showing you guys this is get your stuff on paper. Okay? Get your stuff on paper. Seriously. It's gonna be the best thing you can do for your homestead. It's gonna be make it a lot easier to get it started. Just get gonna regret it. You're gonna regret it if you don't. But I'm gonna go ahead and get off from here because it is an hour into this and I have things I have to do. But I am going to be doing more videos for sure. And keep an eye on your subscriptions, you guys. Please like and share these videos because I don't think YouTube is getting them out there on purpose. Sure of that. Just like and share the videos. Make sure you're still subscribed. Click on the notification bell to make sure that you're... And click on all to make sure you're getting all the notifications. And like and share the videos. Do your research. Get your homesteading books. Get your gardens in. Get a fall garden in. Get your water situated. Make it to where you can have water without electricity. And get your homestead started. And do more research. Just try to have fun with it. Get everything on paper. Make sure you have hard copies of everything. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.